What if the greatest lost civilization on Earth was never under the ocean, but right here, in America? What if the clues were hidden in plain sight, in ancient maps, forgotten legends, and ruins that don't belong? Tonight, we follow the evidence nobody talks about. Cut to thunder, waves, ancient symbols flashing. The clue, hidden in an ancient map. Our story begins, not in America, but in the year 1665, inside the workshop of a German scholar named Athanasius Kircher. He was studying the legendary island of Atlantis, and he drew something strange. Kircher's map wasn't just a fantasy sketch. He claimed it was based on Egyptian records that said Atlantis lay west of North Africa. But here's the twist. Kircher flipped the map upside down. When modern historians turn it right side up, it aligns almost perfectly with North America. The shape, the landmass, even the placement of rivers. Coincidence? Maybe, but hold that thought, because this is only the first missing piece. If Kircher's map pointed toward America, why do ancient cultures across the Atlantic describe the same lost land? Indigenous legends that sound too similar. Long before Plato ever wrote about Atlantis, Native American nations had their own warnings about a mighty civilization that vanished. One of the strongest is from the Choctaw. Their legends speak of a powerful ancient people who lived in a shining city destroyed by a great flood after they turned away from sacred laws. Sound familiar? But then there's the Hopi prophecy. The Hopi tell of 3 previous worlds humanity lived in, each destroyed, each ending in the same way, by water, by fire, or by ice. And the survivors, they traveled across the sea to a new land, America. Now look at the Aztec Codex Botarini. It shows the Aztecs migrating from a mysterious homeland called Aztlan, Atlantis. The names are almost identical. Are these separate stories, or the same memory, retold by different cultures? But here's where things get even stranger. There are ruins in America that archaeologists still struggle to explain. The ancient city that shouldn't exist. Travel with me to Cahokia, Illinois, a place most Americans have never heard of. Yet 700 years ago, it was bigger than London. At its peak, Cahokia had over 20,000 residents, advanced urban planning, astronomical alignment, and mounds built with engineering precision that baffles even modern architects. Archaeologists say Cahokia rose suddenly and collapsed just as fast. No war, no invaders, no clear cause. Some researchers, quietly, carefully, suggest Cahokia wasn't the first advanced civilization here, but the last echo of a much older one, pieces of something greater. But Cahokia is just one example. Across the eastern United States, there are 200,000 plus mound structures. Some circles, some pyramids, some geometrically perfect. Who built them? Why this level of precision? And why did these societies disappear overnight? Because buried below these ruins, scientists found something that changes everything. The geological evidence nobody expected. In 2021, geologists studying the southeastern United States made an astonishing discovery. Layers of sediment deep beneath riverbeds show signs of a massive sudden flood event around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. The same date Plato gives for the fall of Atlantis. Even more shocking, the flood wasn't from rainfall. It came from ancient lakes bursting, melting ice sheets, and ocean levels rising at impossible speeds. Records show sea levels jumped over 300 feet in a geological instant. Imagine what that would do to a coastal civilization. Gone, overnight. And here's the detail nobody talks about. Under parts of the Gulf of Mexico, sonar mapping found structures. Straight lines, right angles, and patterns unlikely to be natural. Not confirmed, not denied, just unexplained. But the most controversial evidence is still ahead. Ancient inscriptions that shouldn't exist, written by people who shouldn't have been here. The Forbidden Stones. Deep in the forests of Vermont lies a site called America's Stonehenge. Archaeologists call it an ancient ritual complex. But on one of the stones, there is a carving, Some experts say it resembles ancient Phoenician writing. The Phoenicians were master sailors. They crossed the Mediterranean. Some believe they crossed the Atlantic too. There's also the Bat Creek Stone, found in Tennessee. Smithsonian archaeologist John Emmert unearthed it in 1889. Its inscription matches ancient Hebrew, not medieval Hebrew, not modern Hebrew, but a script from over 2,000 years ago. Coincidence? Forgery? Authentic? Experts still argue. But here's the thing. Why do old world symbols appear 5,000 miles away, in a land we're told nobody reached? And why do native elders in the area say these stones belong to the people before us? Because some believe Atlantis wasn't destroyed, it moved. The civilization that didn't disappear, it split. Most people imagine Atlantis sinking beneath the ocean in a single night. But what if the real story is different? What if Atlantis didn't vanish, but fractured? Some researchers propose a bold idea. A powerful ancient civilization in America may have been hit by massive floods, rising seas, and climate chaos around 10,800 BC, the same period as the mysterious Younger Dryas event. Old coastlines drowned, rivers changed direction, cities, if they existed, were wiped out. But the survivors? They didn't die, they scattered, some north, some inland. Some, according to controversial theories, sailed east across the Atlantic. This might explain something historians have struggled with for centuries. Why do old world civilizations suddenly leap forward in agriculture, architecture, and astronomy around the same window in time? Göbekli Tepe, the rise of ancient Egypt, early Sumerian city-states, all appearing after a global catastrophe. Coincidence? Or the fingerprints of refugees from a lost American homeland? Mini cliffhanger. But if survivors of Atlantis migrated, there should be genetic evidence, and there is. But it raises more questions than answers. DNA evidence that doesn't fit the textbooks. In the early 2000s, geneticists discovered something startling. A rare mitochondrial DNA marker called Haplogroup X2a. It appears in small populations across North America, especially around the Great Lakes. But here's the mystery. This genetic marker is also found in ancient populations around the Mediterranean and Near East. Not in Siberia, not in East Asia, not along the Bering Land Bridge route. Meaning, this lineage did not come from the traditional migration path taught in schools. Even more disturbing, the timeline for X2a entering North America matches the period after the global flooding events. Experts say it's an unresolved anomaly, but others say it's a signature, a trail, a clue that ancient maritime travelers, possibly survivors of a lost culture, crossed from America to the Old World, or vice versa. The DNA doesn't tell us who these people were, but it tells us this. Someone was crossing oceans thousands of years before we're told anyone could. But if transoceanic contact happened, there should be artifacts, actual objects that don't belong. There are artifacts out of time. Hidden in museum basements and private collections are objects that archaeologists quietly avoid discussing. One example is the Tiffin tablet, found in Ohio in 1915. It depicts figures that look incredibly similar to ancient Mediterranean sea peoples. Then there's the Spirit Pond rune stones in Maine, inscriptions that appear Norse, but older than documented Viking arrival. Even more unsettling is a controversial pottery fragment found in Mexico. Chemical testing shows its clay composition resembles materials used in the ancient Aegean region. Is it contamination? Trade? Forgery? No official answer. And here's the strangest case. The Florida stone anchors. Massive carved anchors pulled from Florida's coastal waters, nearly identical in style to anchors used by ancient Mediterranean sailors. Some date them thousands of years older than Columbus, but mainstream archaeology rejects this because it shouldn't be possible. But if ancient Americans had advanced navigation, something Plato attributes to Atlantis, these anchors make sense, but artifacts are only one layer. There's something deeper, beneath the ground, beneath the ocean, that ties everything together. The lost cities, underwater. Off the coasts of Cuba, sonar teams detected what looks like an underwater city. Massive geometric shapes, pyramidal forms, grid-like patterns across the seafloor. Even the Cuban government acknowledged the discovery. The structures sit over 2,000 feet underwater, too deep to be from any known civilization, unless they were built before sea levels rose, before the floods, before the younger Dryas, the same timeline that Plato describes. And remember, Plato said Atlantis lay beyond the Pillars of Heracles, in the Great Ocean. Modern historians assume he meant the Atlantic Ocean, but the Caribbean is part of that same vast sea. If an advanced coastal civilization existed there 10,000 plus years ago, rising seas would have swallowed it entirely, just like Atlantis. But why doesn't mainstream archaeology accept this? The answer is uncomfortable: the silence problem. Why would evidence of an American Atlantis be ignored? The truth is simple. It rewrites everything. It challenges the timeline of human civilization. It contradicts academic models. It disrupts reputations, careers, and institutions. Thousands of years earlier than Egypt, earlier than Sumer, earlier than Stonehenge, a civilization capable of navigation, engineering, astronomy, trade across oceans. But here's the real twist. The earliest stories of Atlantis never said it was a myth. Plato's dialogues treat Atlantis as history, passed down by Egyptian priests from records even they struggled to interpret. If Atlantis was a memory of a real American civilization, then every culture's flood myths, from the Maya to the Hopi to the Aztecs to the ancient Greeks, might come from the same event, a global disaster, a real one. And the survivors carried the story across continents. Some east, some west, some north, a story retold for thousands of years until it became legend. So, was Atlantis in America? The maps, the legends, the ruins, the DNA, the underwater structures. They don't prove the theory, but they don't dismiss it either. And maybe that's the point. History is a puzzle. Pieces scattered across time, in stone, in myth, in forgotten coastlines. Atlantis might not be a single place. It might be a story of all of us. A civilization that rose, fell, and whispered its memory into every culture on Earth. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Atlantis was a real American super civilization? Or just a myth that refuses to die? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your theory might be the missing piece.